If you'd like to know how Beth Wright from Ram Hardware Products is using 10x to help grow her business, then you're in the right place. Let's go. Hi Beth, welcome. How are you doing? And can you tell us about Ram Hardware Products?
Ram Hardware, we specialize in unique hardware for the home. It's predominantly space-saving hardware. And our main product is Quiet Glide rolling library ladders.
That is absolutely fascinating in the modern age. If you think those sort of ladders, they're going way back on one level, but probably not normally attributed to people's homes and workplaces, I imagine.
No, they have been going sort of in homes for about 100 years. They started with the Putnam Rolling Ladder Company, but in the late 90s is when it really started becoming on trend going into more homes. Started off with libraries, but then it kind of has gone into other unique areas in the home, such as for kitchens, bedrooms, wardrobes. It's expanded throughout the whole home.
And so, how did you get into that business? There's got to be a story there.
It is a bit of a funny story. The person who sort of created the Quiet Glide brand is a family friend, and he came over to New Zealand about 12 years ago with a family. They were just doing a bit of a family vacation between Australia and New Zealand, and he'd always wanted to get into the Australian market. So he kind of did a bit of a pitch to my dad. And for the next year, my dad kept saying to me, Beth, we've got to do these rolling library ladders and these barn doors and all of that. And it took me a while, but once I kind of started looking into it, I thought they are actually pretty cool. And so we started in New Zealand 10 years ago, and 7 years we've been in Australia.
Excellent. And so obviously, your dad, there's that family connection throughout your business. And what I would love to understand is like what makes you passionate about your business? Like what about it makes you tick? Because I know that you're really passionate about what you do. And for some people they'd be like, what? Why? But what for you? Why do you really enjoy this space? Why do you like the ladders and the space saving ideas?
I'm short. I'm only 5'1", so I can totally relate to needing to reach up and get things. So I think for me, it's that it's such a problem solving thing, but it's so beautiful when you see all the different applications that it's used in. So much can be done to make it look completely different. So you can paint the ladder, you can stain the ladder. We've got different finishes in the hardware. So no two ladders look the same ever. And it's just such a beautiful way to solve a problem. And I think that's what I absolutely, I just love it. And it is real, like, I love Beauty and the Beast. That was, I think, for my era, that was my movie, and it is one of those things that when you see it, it resonates, and so it's a beautiful piece of functional hardware.
Yeah, so you really enjoy the aesthetic side, the beauty, and how it can be quite a statement piece within someone's home, but also the functionality of what it really does is solve so many problems for people. And particularly in this day and age, right, we're actually looking constantly, most people are looking, how can we do more in the spaces that we have rather
Absolutely.
than going bigger and bigger and bigger. It's like how can we actually be more effective and more efficient, which is a solution that you can provide with the ladders and the many other products that you have as well. So now I do know though that you cross more than one place, right? So well, clearly by your accent, you are not a Kiwi.
No.
And well, I'm a Kiwi, but I don't live there anymore. But you live in New Zealand, but you're not a Kiwi, and your business is in Australia. So you're an American living in New Zealand, running a business in Australia and New Zealand. Tell me, like that's pretty unique as an entrepreneur to be basically offshore of your business, running it from a different country. So tell me how particularly did that come about? What's that like? Is that, obviously that gives you more reach, I assume. Like, what are the benefits for you of being able to, and how easy is it for you to be able to run a business in Australia from New Zealand?
Right. So lots of different questions there. So I'll start off because we'd started in New Zealand, and it is a very niche market, right? So there's not a lot of other places out there selling library ladders. We just got demand from Australia, I guess because we were the closest to them. And so we did start off selling to Australia through the New Zealand company and just sending it DHL. And it to start off with, it wasn't actually too expensive, but then as shipping costs increased, the shipping got to be a little bit crazy. And then all the way through, so I had some friends move to Sunshine Coast. And so I asked them, like, would you consider sort of doing my dispatch? If we had it landed over that way, would you consider doing dispatch? And so that's sort of what started even the possibility of being an Australian company. And then from there, all these pieces just came together. We found our ladder manufacturer so that we don't have to import all the wood product because wood is very difficult to import. New Zealand and Australia both have very strict quarantine around wood products. So we found locals. We found another company once we grew and didn't have space anymore at our friends. Um, and it's just all the way we've just magically aligned with people that we needed at the time. So we managed to run it from New Zealand office side, answering all the calls, all the administration and all that. And now we just have a dispatch center. They're based up in Lawton, and they dispatch. They receive all of our goods for us, tick everything off the list, and we just have to have real good computer systems to make it work. So it wasn't near as challenging, I think, when you're meant to do something and pieces just of the puzzle just come together, it actually becomes easy.
And so, Beth, you're clearly a curious person and asking your friends in Australia, would you consider, which is
Yeah.
actually a powerful 10x question that we train our people to ask that question for a whole bunch of different reasons. How long's the business been in operation for, Beth?
So in Australia, 7 years.
And prior to that?
In New Zealand, so it's been 10 years.
Oh, fantastic. And so you've been going for 10 years, you expand into Australia 7 years ago, and then in June of this year, you discover 10X and Grant somehow found you. What's your 10X discovery story?
So for me, we did Carrie and I. Carrie's the manager here. She actually does a lot of the real work in the background. Her and I did a trip to the States to the manufacturer, and then we stopped off and saw Frank, who designed all the Quiet Glide. And Frank had said to me, Beth, have you done 1 million yet? And I was like, oh my goodness, like we're nowhere close to 1 million. And I think it's because we were a small business and we were just comfortable. Like it was comfortable. And so the 1 million that Frank suggested really got me thinking. And so we started off 2024 going, okay, how are we going to do 1 million? And I got to about April and was like, I have no idea how to do this. If I knew how to do it, I would have done it by now. And I just had no idea where to start. And Grant found me on Facebook, and it was a Facebook ad. And being very curious, yeah, I watched it, and I was like, I know I need something, right? So I did the interactive, the 2 day interactive, and just him going through that. It was just like, okay, yeah, now this, I know I need this. I was so overwhelmed, just absolutely overwhelmed. And one of the things Grant had said is that you can't do it alone. And so the thing for me is like, I didn't want to do it alone because I had no idea. Yes, there's a lot of information there, but I just didn't know where to start. It made me realize how much I had to change, the business. And so I did the 90-day challenge. And I was so fortunate that I got Alison as my coach. I was actually really, really worried about it because, we do, being in New Zealand and Australia, we do have a slightly different market to the other places of the world. So I was really, really, really happy to get someone who actually understands our country. And then we've been going since, haven't we, Alison?
We sure have, and it's been amazing. And so, you said that you felt overwhelmed. You knew you needed to do something different. What do you think throughout the last number of months? What do you think is the biggest things that have changed? Not, and then we'll talk about results. But what do you think are the biggest things that have changed for you?
So I think we were really, really fortunate that it was a self-driven market. So the sales that we had gotten up until May was it was just a self-driven market. So coming into it, we had to learn how to attract that market. But because we'd never done any of that, it was basically like starting over from beginning again, trying to learn, break down who are our customers, um, realizing that we had different groups, how to send the right message to them. It was a real complete overhaul of everything. We had to learn everything because we just got sales that came to us and we didn't know how or why. They just wanted it and we were like, okay. So we sold it to them. So then we had to figure out how to do it on purpose. And that is even still, I've learned so much, but then also understand that there's so much more still to learn.
Yeah, and what I hear you saying is rather than, and I think this is quite common, right, across businesses. For a long time, and for a lot of businesses, business has been a lot easier in that customers would just come to you. But if you don't know how your customers are finding you and the process of then acquiring that customer all the way through your whole entire sales process, knowing what that is and all of the steps out the other side, follow up and everything like that, how do you gain predictability in your business? You can't. You can't actually gain that level of control, which means how can you identify the successful actions that work and amplify those? So I know that you've spent, because obviously having been the benefit of being able to work with you this whole time, I know you spent a significant amount of time of the identification process of who your customer base is. How can you acquire customers? How can you acquire more customers? And then how can you sell more so that you can gain that predictability? So, in terms of that, so from a results perspective, so you've made some of those changes. What do you think the biggest changes that you've made over the last few months have been so far? Now, I know that, like you said, there's always going to be more and more and more because there's still more goals to be had. But what do you think the biggest changes have been that you have actually made so far, and what has that resulted in?
I think the biggest change has absolutely been in understanding actually what it is we want from our customer. Like, not just getting a customer, but where can that journey with that customer go? Grant always talks about the second sale, the third sale, that sort of stuff. And before I was very, very limited to go, well, somebody, once they buy a library ladder in their home, they don't want another one, so like, what do I do? Um, so it was kind of changing the mindset of how we do work a lot with kitchen companies and joiners and cabinet makers. So how can we work? How can we form relationships with them to actually go through an actual journey with them for a second and third and fourth sale? So that's the first thing. And so the second thing is we realized that we didn't have a lot of control over how these kitchen companies, joiners, cabinet makers interacted with their customers. So we had to prepare a whole new sales system, um, covering objections, making sure we have the right information going to that company for them to relay the correct information onto the customer. So we did notice that that actually it didn't completely fix it, but it helped cover some objections that we had no control of trying to fix.
Oh, that's just fabulous. And so again, you've had the change in the mindset. You've been able to remodel the sales system so that another partner in that sales process is giving you better information so that you're able to overcome objections that previously would have just resulted in no sale, correct?
That's right.
Yeah, so we are about revenue through 10x. So when we're getting sales, that means there's a positive revenue impact. Now, having been in business for 10 years effectively in total, before you made this decision through your curiosity to go and participate in the interactive, that would have happened overnight or early morning, a lot of that for you. So you had to commit yourself to probably be up at maybe 4 or 5 a.m. to watch that, I assume. Is that correct?
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So you do that 2 days in a row at the end of a busy week over a weekend. Actually, it would have been
It was
um,
Sunday, Monday.
yeah, Sunday, Monday. That's right. So you've had to
Yeah.
commit for your Monday. Now, one of the things we talk about in 10X is commitment. So you may have been exposed to that or hadn't even been exposed to that concept through the interactive. And then you see that opportunity to get a coach. And have you ever had a business coach before, Beth?
No,
Okay,
no.
so like that's a big step. And
It
if
was.
someone, yeah, if someone is watching us, and we're fortunate that we get a pretty sizable viewership with this through the YouTube channel,
Mhm.
and they're in the early stages of running a business, and like you, even though you'd been going for 10 years, you still recognize there's so much I don't know. What would you be saying to them about the role coaching has played for you so far?
Like just one, or can I list a couple?
Go for as
Um,
many as you like, please. Absolutely.
well, Grant sold me on the accountability, right? That you needed a coach that's going to be accountable. For me, it was because it was so much information. So anybody who's seen the interactive, there's so much really good information. And you do quickly toy with the idea I can do this by myself, right? Like you go, how can I save myself some money? Because Grant gave such valuable information. But then it was just so much. It wasn't just one area of the wheel that needed fixing. It was like the entire, and where do I start? And so for me, it was absolutely, I really needed someone to hold my hand through it, just to be perfectly honest, because it's like it was a little bit scary to go it alone. So having someone to go through it with me was very important. The second thing was accountability. Um, Alison did kick my butt a couple times. you know most of at the end of the coaching, it's like, oh yeah, that was a really good one, and there was a couple that it was like, oh, and it is good because even though it doesn't feel good at the time, like I know I could have done so much better. I should have done so much better. And you do just need that accountability. That was so important for me. And then there were other things where it's just brainstorm, like bouncing ideas, because sometimes you have to say something out loud in your head. It sounds perfectly sane, but as soon as it comes out of your mouth, it's either amazing or crazy. And so having that sounding board, or even confirmation, this is what I'm thinking, am I on the right track? That was really, really important for me. And I think Alison just brings everything back to, what does Grant say? What does Grant say? What does Grant say? And like it all ties back into it, which reminds you is that the answers are all in card on you somewhere, you know? And it's like sometimes, and I do appreciate that she can actually go, oh, this is, you need to go here, instead of me having to search through it all and kind of try to find it. You know, the coaches obviously know their stuff so well. So straight off the bat, okay, this is what you're listening to this week. This is where you'll find it. So all of those things, you can't do it alone. You need someone to be right next to you. making sure you're on the straight path, because it would not take long to quickly deviate, and from there you've fallen off the wagon. You're gone
Oh,
that
100%.
fast.
Yeah, very fast. And you mentioned the 10x sales system, the wheel.
Hmm.
Yeah, because you'd been in business for so long, how logical to you did that wheel seem when you first got exposed to it in the sales, the 10x sales interactive?
Made perfect sense. It was like, duh.
Yeah, right. 100%. It's like this makes so much sense. You
Mhm.
also said there's so much in each step of the wheel that you realized, oh my God, I could try and have a crack at doing this on my own. However, you realize what Grant said, you're better off getting some help. And, that's making such a massive difference for you. It's unbelievable. You also mentioned Cardone University, just briefly. Like for that, a lot of folks say, but I don't have time. So how have you dealt with that issue? I don't have time.
It's like anything, you have to make time. You do. I sometimes best the best time I have is when I'm mopping my floors, when I'm cleaning my bathroom, doing all the other things that you have to do anyways. For me, I can do those and really still hear what the message is without being distracted or anything like that. So it has been, sometimes it's listening to it while I'm walking the dogs. But you have to make time.
You do at the end of the day, right? Because no one's going to hand you time on a silver platter. You have to be, and Grant says this all the time, stop trying to manage time and actually control it, be ahead of it. That's how you gain more time. You control it, you choose your schedule. So through all the coaching, and I feel very blessed to have been able to be on the journey with you, and that you've, entrusted in 10x. What has been the result? What have you seen as the result?
During the 90-day challenge, we did manage to get one best month ever in business. We beat our previous best month, and the best previous month was August 2021. So it's not like it was recent or anything. It was during the peak days of everybody renovating. So we managed to get a best month in business, and our overall sales during that 3 months, we were up 22%. We did improve our closing rate by 7%. So that was really good. And then our quotes were up about 35%. So we did get great results, but for us during the 90-day challenge, well, after the month after the 90-day challenge is where the magic actually happened for us. So that following month, we had another best month in business, and we smashed the previous one by a further 25%. And we were up about, I think the number 68% from the same month the year before. So it does happen. It just sometimes doesn't happen in that 90 days.
And look, that's a really powerful point because we say that when you do something like the 90-day challenge or the coach, the knowledge doesn't leave you.
No. And we had so much to fix as well. So it's kind of needed that momentum to kind of come in, because we were fixing, I'm still fixing stuff, so but fixing such critical areas that it takes time for that momentum, but it absolutely did. So
Which is awesome, right? And 68% increase in revenue, even 22%, which it was prior, right? Like that, these are big increases, really, when you really look at it. Considering when you look at your previous kind of, if we look at when things were really going well, it's 2021. That's a long kind of time, and now we've got this push and this momentum going. So I think that is just amazing results, in my opinion. And I know there's so much more. And that's you said you're disappointed on one level. And I think that is the blessing and the curse of an entrepreneurial mindset, right? We're hungry. We'll always want more, always want more, always want more, always keep raising the bar. And part of 10X as well is continue to raise the bar, because you still want your million, right? Like that is going to happen, and you won't accept anything else until it does. And I love that. What I would love to know though is you're very much taken on the 10x world, and the principle, the wheel, in totally revolutionizing your business so that it's in better alignment. You can get that consistency, the control, which means you can actually replicate everything that's happening. So what does 10x actually mean to you?
It is, it's absolutely a mindset. It is recognizing you need help and you're gonna do something about it. Really. So it's a mindset. And doing 10x and going through it, it's no different from anybody who wants to get into, like, say they want to get healthy, right? You have to make that commitment, and every day you have to remember why you're doing it. You have to have your goals. You have to have, and so for me with 10x, it isn't just in my business. It was very important to me. A big thing that sold me on it was about it being across your whole life. I need it to be across my whole life because I don't want to get to $1 million and not have a husband at the end of it, right? So for me, it was right across my whole life. And then even in for with my religious beliefs, battling the is it a because I was always taught that you should be content, right? So Grant talks about these mindsets that have been ingrained in you while you're growing up and things like that. So there's an aspect of contentment. I should be happy with what I've got, and all of that, to where understanding and implementing the 10x is, it's making that okay to actually forget that and move forward. But it was important that I was able to move forward in my religious aspect of my life as well. So it wasn't just putting it in one thing, I had to put it across the whole board. So that was to 10x, it is a complete mindset.
And that is what's so powerful about it, Beth. You've really just articulated that beautifully about it is across your whole life. Yes, we are about business, and yes, we are about revenue, but it is about your health. It is about your family. It is about your relationships. It is about your spirituality, which for some people means a form of religion. And even if they don't, we still advocate people 10xing their spirituality, because we are part of something a bit bigger than our own sort of individual existence. And that's a very powerful response to that question, which we really, really appreciate. Thank you. What are some of the best ways for people to reach out and contact you as a result of our conversation today, Beth?
Definitely our website. Um, the website has so much information on it. It talks about the product. It is a customizable product. So it's really good. You can walk through there. You can get a customized quote as you go through. It explains everything in detail. Otherwise, just pick up the phone and give us a call.
That's really easy. So ramhardware.com.au is the place to go. And of course, other folk will be able to reach out and connect with you on places like LinkedIn as well, of course.
That's,
Alison, I really, really appreciate your time to share your experience of your 10x journey with us. Is there one simple message from Grant that is around mindset in particular that maybe you keep repeating to yourself, that's a really powerful reminder of staying in the game, so to speak, every single day? Is there one that you and Alison have maybe spoken about a lot that you just keep remembering? Repeat successful actions is a simple example of what I'm talking about here. I hope I didn't steal the one you were going to use. And that's okay
no,
if it is.
no, my biggest one, and it's not a grant specific quote or anything, but it's intentional. Be intentional.
100%. Yes. Be intentional. And that's contributed to the fantastic success of 68% growth on the same time last year, smashing out another record month again. They're awesome results. And that's just the early part of the exponential curve for you, obviously.
Yeah, we're only just at the beginning of our 10x life. So
Let's go. We might be seeing you at Vegas next year, right? At GrowthCon, all right? It's going to be the last ones. Folks, get your GrowthCon tickets for Las Vegas in 2025 because it is the 10th, and 10 being 10x, it is going to be the last GrowthCon. So reach out and go there. Once again, from Alison and myself, we really appreciate you coming along, Beth. And folks, reach out to Alison and I. You can see the group mentoring program up there. Those links will also be in the show notes for you as well. So it's a great, simple way to get exposed to the 10x material at a very, very reasonable investment for those of you, particularly in startups and small businesses up to the $1 million place. And then if you want to invest in coaching with us beyond that, then we're here for you to discuss that with you. But please click the link, check out the group mentoring program. You will be blown away by what you can learn and get similar results to what Beth's just got for you right now. Thanks again, Beth. We look forward to seeing you with more success over time.
Thanks, Gary.
Thanks, Beth, for jumping on. Fantastic results.
Oh, good. Thank you.